Ndị be anyị ekeneni m unu ọzọ n'ụbọchị nke taata. Asịrị m unu ka ọ dịrị anyị na mma. Asị m na ihe adị ka echi na echi ada agwụ agwụ. Ndị ga-esi na-esonyela ihe a bụ Igbo Media, bụ ebe anyị si wee na-ewetara unu ya bụ ngalaba ozi a dị nnukwu mkpa anyị si ka anyị gosi unu gbasara maka ihe na-eme na Igbo community and obodo anụ anyị nọ n'ime ya. Dịka o si dị, ọ bụ na nke a bụ mbọsị izizi ị na-ezite chanel anyị bụ Igbo Media, gbaa mbọ rinne ka ị sọbskraịbụ and share ya ka o rute ndị ọzọ aka. Maka na infọmeshọn anyị na-enye unu bụ ihe unu ga-ama gbasara maka ihe na-eme n'obodo a, anụkwunu mara ka unu si akwado na ya bụ ife bụ ya ka anyị si ka anyị drọpụ ọrụ bifo anyị gosi unu ihe anyị ji maka ya wee bịa. Ị ga-esi ya bụ ife anyị ji maka ya wee bịa, ị drọpụrụ anyị alụ gị ife iche gbasara maka ya bụ ife ndị niile ekwu n'iru akwụkwọ. Alright, over to you, sir.
Really more heights and scoring several more goals. Amen. It is with a very deep sense of responsibility and commitment that I address you today as chairman of the public presentation of the book titled In Brotherhood We Stand, a Roadmap for the Rebirth of a Fragmented Nation, written by the birthday boy, Chris Okoye himself. This book is of interest to me because it is a direct fallout from the National Political Reform Conference, which my administration organized in 2005, and which Chris Okoye is a delegate. The 22-chapter book can be described as prescriptively interesting and exciting. As I said during my inaugural speech to the delegates, the National Political Reform Conference presented us with the opportunity to reassess, refocus, redefine, and redesign our political landscape in a direction that will strengthen the bonds of unity, enhance the process of democracy consolidation, strengthen the structures so as to solidify those values that promote democracy, good governance, and good neighborliness, and open boundless opportunities for all Nigerians to be and to feel that they are integral part of the evolving political process and socio-economic advancement of a nation destined to be great. Late Professor Ben Nwabweze, in his foreword to the book, stated, and I quote, "A time comes in the life of a nation when she must do away with histrionics and face the reality of her development challenges with courage, honesty, and commitment." End of quotation. The clarion call in Nigeria today is one for restructuring and a reassessment of the terms of our union as a nation. No matter how economically viable a nation is, bad governance and a wrong system of administration can bring it down. Indeed, there's direct correlation between economic and political reforms. As a nation, our history reveals clearly that we have been through some difficult times and have missed great opportunities. Our historical experiences at constitution making and political reforms show that we may have some structural defects that require adjustment so as not to continue to constrain the deepening, widening, and consolidation of democratic values and practices. Indeed, some of the contradictions and challenges bequeathed by the colonial administration have continued to pose problems for us to this day. And one of such bequests is Western liberal democracy. As things stand, therefore, our constitution-making efforts must go down to the grassroots to deal with the issues of inclusion, popular participation, equity, ownership, and legitimacy, rights and obligations with adequate components of African communalism, caring and sharing. While we have managed to work with available instruments and institutions over the years, some of the imperfections in the system and the constrained legitimacy of the instrument have culminated in seeming alienation of some constituencies and the inability to have all hands on deck. These, over time, had led to coups and counter-coups, political manipulation, weak political parties, and poor leadership, corruption, and the inability of the state to meet the basic needs of the people. In one word, we have been rolling from one bad governance to another. In the process, we try to adjust to the weaknesses of the system and equally adapted to doing without some of those fundamentals that really ought to drive the political process. Some issues that have emerged include, but are not limited to, the challenge of constitutionalism and constitutional reform, the opportunity to bring all stakeholders together to discuss the preferred political path for the nation, the challenge of building new, accountable, responsive, and focused leadership with enchanting character and attributes, and how to build, operate, and sustain real political liberties, social justice, rights and obligations, electoral reforms that ensure credibility, integrity, and respectability of elections, relation between tiers of government, performance of government, and how to ensure truly democratic governance for all. In all of this, the central challenge is still how to strengthen the social contract between the custodian of state powers and the governed, and whoever we are, giving ourselves mutual respect. Of course, not all segments, constituencies, and individuals will be or can be totally satisfied. This is normal in every nation, and we are no individual or group should be deliberately or systemically left out. The best way to express maturity and patriotism is to be positive and objective. What we want in Nigeria is unity, cohesion, equity, justice, togetherness, and collective commitment to our progress and to the Nigeria project. We want to move forward, look forward, move up, and look up about the past to help the present and to inspire the future, and work for a stronger and more united Nigeria in a true democracy with African content. In a democracy, there must be checks and balances, and there must be effective watchdogs with African history and culture. One issue that have to resolve. One issue we have to resolve is who watches the watchdog effectively and transparently, with whistle blowing at the levels of the legislature, executive, judiciary, and the fourth estate of the realm. Critically, one of the areas I think we have the greatest headache is in our composition and performance of the electoral management body, the Independent National Electoral Commission. Let the President recommend and let the National Assembly compose the commission after public hearing to expose each candidate so that the hidden and dark aspect of their life can be seen. And the body must be responsible to the National Assembly to reduce the influence of the executive and reduce the possibility of rigging emanating from the top. This book will stand, this book in brotherhood will stand a road for the rebirth of a fragmented nation. May not be the total solution to Nigeria's problems and challenges, but it will certainly be one of the sure guides for the Nigeria of our dreams, where democracy and good governance are sustained and where our diversity become the strongest fusion of our unity. from my observation in the book, not attempt to analyze nor compare. It may create vision of workable system and set out to present proposals and programs that can be said to be realistically designed and calculated for the realization of the system that will work. That will work better. This book resonates as an actionable treatise on the nature of Nigeria's federalism. It proposes reform of the judiciary and makes a case for collapse of grouping of the present 36 states into regional structures using the 6 geopolitical zones as a template. It shows at a glance that the failure of the nation's democracy is indeed the result of the absence of strong institutions and platforms upon which democracy must thrive. The recurrent problem of electoral corruption and lack of free and fair and credible election as such, which thrives when political institutions are weak, was not left out. 2 important organs of the democratic society, the judiciary and the legislature, were presented as indispensable handmaids of a democratic state. The burning issue on the composition of our electoral umpire, INEC, is also not left out. A very strong note in this very well-produced book is the issue of restructuring and referendum to assert the sovereignty of the people to effect changes in a polity. The experiences of several nations on the power of the people through referendum show that it has been successfully used in authenticating of policies, building institutions, and the adoption of political systems and leadership. It cannot be any different in Nigeria. Well, there will be areas where others will not fully agree with Chris Okoye in this book, even though it's essentially the outcome of a conference. I have areas of my reservation, but it is a book that can enhance the discourse and raise the level of discourse on Nigeria of our dream, Nigeria that we want, a Nigeria that will lift us up to where God has created us to be. Lastly, I must not fail to congratulate Engineer Chris Okoye, Engineer Chris Okoye's wife, Professor Ifeoma Okoye, for attaining the biblical age of 70 and still going strong, for successfully bringing to a close a very impactful career in the Nigerian health sector. Madam, you may be retired, but certainly not tired or old at all from the way you look. And if I may dare say, by comparison, you and I, if I am still not old, you cannot claim to be old. And when the global community, Nigerian nation, and the authorities of the University of Nigeria in Nsukka and the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, UNTH, come knocking, please do not turn your back on them. I cannot close this speech without acknowledging the efforts of a Nigerian that is slowly but surely becoming the conscience of our nation. I'm talking, of course, my brother Peter Obi, in ensuring I share this occasion. He left no stone unturned to make sure that I make myself available. I am glad that I do online. Thank you all, and may God bless Nigeria and every Nigerian, especially at a time such as the one we are presently living in. Thank you.
But this is someone that's come and time past and said that he's come out to say that he's not an Igbo, but all of a sudden he's now admitting to him being an Igbo. I don't know what has really changed, but what do you see? What can you say to that?
You know, that's why it looks as if Igbo man is peaceful. Igbo man are the most radicalized black nation in the world. We are pesetas in all ramifications. When you talk about cube, it was Igbo man that did the first cube in Nigeria. When you talk about anything at all, we set the ball rolling first before anybody. Even recently, you can see it's everywhere. Igbo man was the first person to lift Olympics in Atlanta. We are pesetas. You can't take that away from us. Why you see, bros? Why we are saying this thing is not just for record purposes. Each steps is just the right thing we are talking about. That do not look at the humility and the simplicity, because the humble looking of a lion does not mean that the lion is weak. Asari Dokubo should not take Igbos for granted, and he knows we are not violent people. We believe in peace. But if you say that I will not have peace, show me where I will have peace. That is what Igbo man believes in. And that is what they have been living on for centuries. So anything that is away from that, we are not going to take it. Bro, Asari himself knows that he's too small. When we want to handle somebody like him, he's too small. The humble looking of a lion does not mean that the lion is weak. That's just the truth. So until we get to that level, where that consciousness will come, and of course it's coming. You know, those who say they are not, they are beginning to say they are. That is just the way to go. I think he's beginning to lose grip. You know, his hope is beginning to fall him. You know, reality has begun to stare him in the face. You know, you can fake a lot of things in this world, but you cannot fake reality. You know, Asari Dokubo himself knows that he has faked a lot of things. You know, and those things he has faked has come back to haunt him. The only thing that can stand in life is reality. You know, you can fake your certificate like Tinubu, fake your lifestyle like anybody, you know, but reality is reality. You understand what I'm saying? So I think to a certain point now, Asari Dokubo has beginning to realize reality, and reality has continued to stare him on the face. You know, before now, pre to that election era, you saw how the kind of statement that was coming from I don't want to use a derogatory adjective to qualify him against the Igbos, you know, where he was threatening. He even said that his grandfather, listen, to tell you the kind of a man he is. He even said that his grandfather enslaved Igbos, you know, that Igbos were slaves to his grandfather. You know, but the same Igbos that he's saying that they were slaves to their grandfather are the same Igbos you come out recently to say that your father is from is an Igbo man, and therefore automatically that you are an Igbo man. But we know the truth. The truth is, the fact is, the Ijos, majority of the Ijos, majority of the Calabari. Him too is from, Calabari and Ijo. They are just the share border. They are just like Ogun State, Lagos and Ogun State. They share the same community, the same everything. So Asadi Dokubo is a Calabari man, and the Calabari, they have all close relationship with the Ijo, so he can actually claim Calabari, he can also claim Ijo. But what I'm trying to say is that about 50% of the Ijos, the so-called Ijo, so to say, are people of Igbo extraction. That is just it. Because if you can remember the history, there was a man they called King Jaja of Opopo in those days. The King Jaja of Opopo is the man that founded the Boni, and the Boni axis houses both is Shekiri Urobo. Name them, all those areas, the entire Niger Delta precisely. That's the truth. It was that King Jaja of Opopo that was in charge of that territory. So if Asari is coming out to say, okay, whether he has repented or he has lost hope to what he was expecting, he wanted to use such statement to negotiate, he has failed woefully, and practically he's coming back to his basis. Of course, the Igbos have no option, because we know that he is Igbo. There's no two way. Me, I know that Asari Dokubo is Igbo. I can even tell you his Igbo name. His father, who is Edi Abale, is from Abam or Hafia. You understand? Just like Patience Jonathan. Most of these people you see today, are Igbo. But unfortunately, because of the 1976 Nigeria Biafra war, a lot of Igbos, renounce that identity, and turn their own property to abandoned property. But today, all those properties now, they say it's abandoned property in Port Harcourt and elsewhere. The same people have bought it. That is the way it is. So if Asari Dokubo now has realized that, hey, reality is reality and is running for safety, of course he is welcome, but the truth still remains that whether he's playing games or not, we know who he is. This is an Igbo man, from Calabari. Of course, we know Calabari is a river state. The river state was founded by a man called Ugwocha. Ugwocha is an Igbo man. Before they came and changed the name to Port Harcourt, some of these missionaries came. They named the place after the missionary. Port Harcourt. That was what, the Harcourt. The man's name is Harcourt something. Because the place is located around a coastal area where they always anchor using that port. That's what they call it, Port Harcourt. But
what about Slynol? But Ibabulo Senate President, Ibabulo Vice President, nothing. And the new Muyindi na Megasquano, Umuna is so going to go famba. Mako Kive, they make it as Adrozi Asimo getting a mezi or the Carlo. Aratos the email. Negodin Kobodo City. Came a one night woke up Mazin and the cannon and borrow. Akumakandi Igbo. Can you Joe Miller? Macosin and Igbo Gadi, Macos Nagadi Cage, nature that guagu. What you also judge there? Joe Gaudra. Guinea gauge the Mazin and the cannon. Akumacosin Igbo Yadi. Because they give up today if I bow, Igbo media, I know known by on by Kainasu. So because Beneda and Igbo, you will one again. On by Kaijako, your name ever. Kago kwa ni aine ku before une okuniwe ka ife onye ndu melu o si ya na mbombe ndị Igbo na-abịa na alụ ọ na-ewute ya. Simon Ekpapinia aya boba ya mgba ka emere obedient movement akwụwụrụ okwu Maazị Nnamdi Kanu kwuru before ejide ya. They will never give you that president, that seat. Akwụdoro na ya no Peter Obi winere mana nyere ya. Gịnị ka asị ya bụ mba Igbo mana na ife maka oke esi na-ekwuzi okwu oke ife ga na-esi na-emezi ọ bụ na ịkpọrọ onwe gị meeting chukwu onwe gị ọnụ jụọ onwe gị ajụ a ka ebe ịkwụ n'obodo a bụ Naịjirịa ajụ nchọkwa onye ọbụla bụ onye Igbo na-ege m ntị n'elu akwụkwọ a jụọ onwe ya na na-ejicha onwe gị ya bụ ife isa ya ọbụna ka m n'ọnụ ihe a bụ Igbo Media daalụ n'ụmụnne